Good morning to you and welcome back from the weekend. Hope you had a very, very relaxing weekend. It's Monday, the 13th of October 2025. My name is Danielle Adeyemi and I welcome you to the headline news analysis this morning. I'm not alone as usual. The house is packed. We have the lady in the house as well too. And of course, we have our in-house analyst. Good morning, gentleman and lady.
Good morning to you, Dio. Good morning to everyone listening to the headline news analysis this morning. Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning. Well, I used to hear this saying that there is no lady in the media. That's all gentlemen of the press.
Well,
I heard that
is quite I don't know, the feminists might come after me this morning, but that is, it's just a cliche we used to say in the newsroom and when we have our public functions. Gentlemen of the press. I don't mean it as a slight. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. All right. The views to be expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 on the staff therein, but is expressed by our in-house analyst, Nicholas Uwerunonye. We have a couple of stories to get into this morning. Really interesting and important stories to get into. So let's pick it up.
All right. We started off from the education sector. And now that we have the academic staff of universities have declared a 2-week nationwide strike after the expiration of the
warning
the
strike.
7 days ultimatum given to the federal government that elapsed on September 28th. Now, ASU has embarked on a 2-week warning strike. This is just warning. And the federal government is making reactions as well. So first stop, did you see this coming? Did you think ASU would embark on that strike to press home their demands?
Well, when has ASU made an idle threat? They've never made an idle threat. When they decide to go on a strike, it's because they have looked at every angle. You see, look, I give a lot of premium to, academics, operatives within the academic sector. Because these are deliberate people. They are not given to whims. They are not given to emotion. They are given to reasoning, logical, linear reasoning. They are going to explore every angle, look at and see if they can continue or they will have to bring their worries to the public. And that has always been, their trademark over the years. So it's a culture for them. So when they made that initial, give that 7-day ultimatum to federal government, I knew that given, the federal government, responses, delayed responses and things like that, the behemoth of bureaucracy and the rest of them, politics, of negotiation, I knew there was no way the strike wouldn't come. It would definitely come. And, let's be clear, it's still the same old issue since 2009. They need to, improve the package of the workers, the academic staffers. Then, of course, even more importantly, making the Nigerian university competitive. You see, I can never tire of explaining and re-explaining that, look, the pathway to economic success for any country, it is academia and research. There is no, that is where the world is tending towards, and we can compete favorably if the resources are put there. But the unfortunate thing is that because we are so wired to all this free money, free aid from multilateral bodies, we don't want to tax ourselves. So we tend to leave our universities to be just like teaching centers. Just like extramural programs you have in those days. In fact, all those extramural programs are even more efficient than most of our universities these days. Ones we had when we are trying to write WAEC and the rest of them. In terms of the quality of teaching, they are even more effective than most of these universities we call universities these days. When you look at the quality of recruitment, people who just need job are not researchers. So, there is no way a responsible body of academic can watch the situation slide and not do something about it. And that's what they are doing. But we predicted, federal government will come up with that same old stick, no work, no pay. You understand? And it's rather nauseating and very humiliating, that you are talking of academics, full-grown adults, fathers, mothers, people who are trying to make things better for the academics. We are telling them that you're going to withdraw their pay if they don't go to work, And this is a legitimate tool of negotiation in industrial, So, we need to speak clearly about this so that, I know a lot of people will listen to me and say, because in the past I've condemned, strikes like the Pengasen thing. I sincerely hope we are going to touch on this other issue and see so that we can draw the difference between the two of them. The academics know they have the power of going on strike, but what are they deploying it for? That is the thing. That's just the difference. It's quite saddening, really, and very sad for our kids.
All right. Let's move to another news story. The Pengasen story. Well, it's like you said, we're going to draw the differences between the strikes. The price of liquefied petroleum gas, commonly known as cooking gas, has surged to as high as 2,500 naira per kilogram, forcing many residents to resort to charcoal and firewood for domestic cooking, as authorities, however, insisting the price hike is not government approved. The national president of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Oladapo Olatunbosu, attributed the situation to temporary supply disruptions caused by a recent strike by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasen. But he also assured Nigerians that the scarcity is artificial and would ease soon, warning marketers against exploiting customers amid the temporary supply challenge.
Like Okorigwe Mugdo, alias 430 will say, you are. Yeah, that's it. At the end of the day, you see, they said 2,500 for
2,500
that is for some
kilogram.
parts of Lagos. In Abuja, it's as much as 3,000 naira. Yeah, over the weekend, I went to refill my gas and I got it for 1,700. 1,700, yes, in Ilorin. And there is that probability that it's going to hit 2,000 by this morning, or probably within midweek. You see, we didn't just condemn Pengasen for what, because I saw their action as very extremely selfish. It lacked how am I going to put it? The average Pengasen person is way above the middle strata of the society. They earn good money. If you ask them to buy 5,000 naira per kg, they can afford it. You understand? But we are talking of the ordinary hoi polloi, the people on the streets. They can't afford it. So you see, that should be the first consideration before you go on strike. Now, the difference between the ASU thing is this. Look, they are saying that, look, you are graduating people from secondary school into university. But what we are teaching, because of the tools you are giving us, is not university training. So they could as well stay at home, because what's the difference? You might as well hire a very sound secondary school student to teach the secondary leaver to teach secondary school pupils, or even primary school. If what you are dispensing at the university system does not make any change, it doesn't change them, in terms of adding quality, adding knowledge, adding competence to them, if it doesn't grow the economy. You understand? But you see, what they have done now is very simple. You see, all what the middlemen need, gas sellers need, is the moment there is a slight disruption, they hoard whatever they have. And don't forget that some would have bought it at an exorbitant price, so they want to make their money first. So you see, it's like that chain. It's just like you see on traffic hold up. You might just discover that what is just a small glitch might lead to a very long queue, before it starts dissipating. So that is what you see. The moment there is a slight disruption, it affects the entire chain before it starts right-sizing itself. So that is what we are saying. So before you went back on strike, these are some of the things you need to consider. Who will be the sufferer at the end of the day? It's a common man.
The issue of herding is a big one.
It's a very big one.
And you see that even happen with fuel. You see that happen with kerosene, I remember, from the past. And all of these things. Again, how can governments, step in and see that the issue of hoarding becomes a thing of, maybe totally, if not eradicated.
The thing is this. Let us be very clear. I don't know, some lawyers might argue against this. If I decide to hoard, I don't think it's illegal. So far, I bought it at the market price. If I say I'm not selling, that's what stock market is all about. Stock market is about, in fact,
the will to, sell or will to buy.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
You understand? So it's comparable. So sometimes, we see government lean on those people. You understand? Forcing them to open their stores and sell. It's the only way you can break hoarding is to supply a cheaper supply cheaper ones so as to make it difficult for them to keep it in the store. Yes, that's the only way you can do it. You know, so there's absolutely nothing you cannot you can't legislate your way out of it. You can't use force to force people to sell when they're not ready to sell. So you see,
do you think it's a business practice, right?
Of course, it's a business practice, and I want to strongly argue that it's a legitimate business practice. Because I watch. It's just okay. For instance, I might decide, for instance, during rainy season, go to all those farm hubs. I have a very good storage facility. Buy yams, buy corn, then put it in those storage, and I wait until the dry season and start selling it. For me, that's a legitimate business. All right, you understand?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
to you. Could you turn down the volume of your radio set, please?
How are you doing, Mr. Studio?
We're fine, thank you. Please turn down the volume of your radio set so we can have a good conversation.
Okay, it's down.
All right, thank you very much. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Shitta-Bey. I'm calling from Zongo.
Okay, good morning.
All right, good morning to you. Please go ahead with your comment.
Well, sorry, I want to agree totally with the analysts in the House as regards the ASU strike. You know, we have a government that is quite insensitive to the needs of Nigerians. Let's just say it the way it is in black and white. These are a set of people that have been up and fighting for legitimacy since 2009. You can imagine fighting for the same thing since 2009, and you have a government that is playing yo-yo with them. Quite separate from the other unions. I don't want to mention the downstream petroleum sector people who sometimes we hear we have 2 or 3 refineries that have not been working for decades and they end their pay. These are a set of patriotic Nigerians. Year in, year out, they work their sweat out to ensure that they graduate students every year. And even with the menial facilities we have in our tertiary institutions, you still see our graduates go abroad and they become some of the best doctors, some of the best engineers. And what are we talking about? So I think it's quite insensitive of government to treat people of this caliber as if they are casual workers. You are threatening them with no work, no pay, as if a sort of people that if you disengage them today, tomorrow you can get that kind of set of expertise. I think we, as a serious nation, we need to start thinking about priorities, prioritizing the right things. For example, I would tell you, we are talking about fighting insurgencies. I know that in most of our universities and the faculties of engineering, you have students that have developed drones. You know, those things are just lying down fallow there. You have academics that have developed softwares that could capture aerial surveillance. But what is the government doing about it? The most the academic can do is to produce these things. Their mandates does not reach to the productive stage while you are asking the universities to start producing these things for marketing purposes. So I think the government of Nigeria needs to start to think to prioritize education, just like your in-house analyst has said, and make education a priority.
Thank you so very much.
That wants to grow, that wants to excel, needs research, needs its body of academia to be treated rightly, and not as if they're a bunch of riffraffs. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Well, he spoke extensively about the ASU strike, and I was just going to add to what he's saying. Again, we're hearing reports that over 300 professors are leaving the university, and it's a call coming from ASU that it's worrisome.
It is what it is. Do you know what it means to have a professor? Do you know the amount of money that would have been spent in terms of training that kind of an individual? It's a humongous loss in the bank. If banks are just made up of, if the directors are equivalents of professors, you have about 300 leaving the banking sector. The banking sector will collapse.
We have a problem?
A big one. You see, all this is just about the wastefulness of Nigerian government when it comes to local researches that we make. We are so wasteful. Look, University of Ilorin, just University of Ilorin here. I know that there was at some time they were doing a project with the Sobi Barak. They have a project on bulletproofs. The VC did. I think it was Age that said something like that. You can imagine the previous vice chancellor in one of the convocation speeches. Some of the things that they have developed in the university, they have that technology they are developing. Pari pursue with the military on latest bulletproofs. You understand? I like to ask, what is the level of that development? You will be shocked to know that that thing will be stolen because of funding and the unwillingness of federal government to order its military to patronize such local destiny and grow them. That is apart from that. Just last year, because it was one of the questions I asked the current vice chancellor, why is it so difficult for banks, for you to market your researches? And the simple answer is that no bank in Nigeria, currently as it is, can fund research. One, fund it to completion and market it. They don't have the capacity. Only federal government has the capacity. Now, rather than use that capacity, rather than grow the local content, they prefer offshore, they prefer, firms from abroad. Mm-hmm. They bring in their technologies and they sell it here. Of course, there's always a kickback when that happens. You understand? And that is what is affecting even the drones we have purchased from these people, because we can't deploy it. Because if you deploy it here, the images, all those images that is going to be generated is going to go back to either China or all those places where because they already have algorithms that captures your details and send it over there. So you are creating a bigger security challenge than the one you are trying to solve. So what we are saying is localize all these things by empowering universities, by empowering the academics.
All right. If you let's just quickly go back on ASU strike and the statement coming from the federal government, issuing a warning more like a threat.
It is a threat. It's not like
so. Are we scared that after this 14-day strike, what might happen?
Well, if the ASU I know is anything, things like that doesn't deter them. Don't forget, ASU have gone on strike for almost 9 months without pay before. I recall one very long one where even the federal government decided to dissolve ASU, disband them. That was under Sani Abacha. And they still thrived. They held on until the very, very last. You understand? So it is, they've been through that before. Maybe we don't have the quality of academics we used to have in those days. I was lucky. Some of us were lucky to have gone through some of these seasoned, die-hard academics, who have they have their names to protect. But yeah, we still have them, but I'm not sure, especially given what is happening, the way, the kind of decimation that, the federal government policy has done to universities, I'm not too sure we have those kind of people that can. But if I know ASU as ASU used to be, they might decide to go the whole hog after the two weeks to on strike.
Well, we hope the government will step in at this time
and do something about that, because then what now happens to the students? This is like is such a pause on their lives and their education and everything.
Ironically, the fear on the part of federal government is they are scared of keeping the students at home. They know what it can. I do hands.
What it could cost.
Of course, political, players, political agents might reach out to them, carol them into, opposition and things like that. That is the fear for federal government. But you see, the biggest way you can assuage that fear is to listen to us. It's as simple as that. Make education your priority.
Nicholas, we've gone, from, former President Goodluck Jonathan to the late General Muhammadu Buhari, and then we have President Bola Tinubu. From 2009, the ASU demand.
Yeah.
Is this something that is workable and is visible?
I absolutely believe it is workable.
Can the federal government solve that problem?
They can. It's just a matter of showing goodwill and good faith. So, but what federal government tends to do is to play delay tactics. Okay, give them one or two. Let them go. After they come again, give them one or two. They are not the critical issues are not being resolved. That is just it. What they are saying is make researches more viable. That is all. In fact, the moment you're able to treat that, fund researches, make it viable, make it marketable in Nigeria. You see, this issue of whether you pay them good salaries or not, might recede a little bit because but lecturers will now be incentivized into going into research. You understand? They will be incentivized into making research, making breakthroughs because they know patency means bigger money, bigger name, bigger, opportunities out there. You understand? Over here, over there in the US and the UK, some of the richest people are people who made patents. People who research and make the groundbreaking findings. These are essentially rich people. Very, very stupendously rich people. But over here, because all we end up doing is writing papers. That's all. That's all we do. You understand? So, I mean, it's a very sad development.
Just to add to the question my colleague just asked, it looks like the federal government is like year in, year out, every government that comes in looks like they constantly just breadcrumb the ASU. If this doesn't get solved now and then we go on this long strike and then they just give ASU a little bit of what they're asking for, not the completion of it, does that mean that for years and years to come, we would constantly face this issue?
Oh, definitely. It's a spiral. It's a circle. We'll just be going around chasing our tail. That's what it will amount to. And all you just need to do is just look at university rankings over the years. See where we are. 20 years ago, where were we? You understand?
Just recently, University of Ibadan got ranked among some top universities around the world. Just only University of Ibadan.
The only university. And
the other time, I think University of Lagos also was included.
Yeah.
But again, what is the position?
What is the position? I'm talking of between 1,000. That is the best 1,000. That's where you're going to find UI. You understand? And we are talking of Africa, the fourth largest economy thereabout. We should have a university that should rank somewhere between the first and 100. We should have a university, one or two universities.
But let's ask ourselves, this question. If you look at the ivory towers, there's some of these very, very renowned universities. Yeah. University of Nigeria and Nsukka, University of Ibadan, Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Lagos. These are, institutions with, a lot of prestige.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, do we have the capacity of, academics we used to have? Do we still have them at the ivory towers now?
That's a very big question. The unfortunate thing is, just like you said, 300 professors are leaving. Now, imagine the number of PhD holders, the number of senior lecturers that have left over the years. We're only drawing attention to this because we are talking of just professor. That's the highest echelon. So you can imagine the number of other ones that have left. So if we have to look at it, you can just hazard a guess that we are not at peak strength. We are not. Our academia is not at peak strength. Over the years, it has deteriorated, and you see it, by the quality of,
graduates churned out.
They churn out into the market. Just go on social media, go to Facebook, and listen to the way so-called graduates. You go and look at their profile. Sometimes when I read comments, I go to that person's profile. You see, University of Abuja, University of this, University of that. And you look at the quality of argument proceeding from that kind of person, and you wonder. Even a brilliant primary school student would not argue in that puerile manner. In fact, there was one I saw. It was of this ethnic this thing. He said, even if the Hausa Fulani kill us, it's not like people from this side that disrespect our culture. That is, and I look at the feature, look at the face. Of course, you have a way of looking at if this is an imbecile or not. Then I looked at it looks normal. Then I went to the profile so that he went to this. Then of course, cross-checked with the contacts. He has a way of friends. And that definitely I know 2-3 of this. So he must have been through that institution. And this coming on board to say this kind of a thing, that's to tell you the quality of human being that the university is churning into the society.
All right. Wow. We hope that federal government gets to act on this because again, some part of Conroy is saying that they're not going to be part of it. There's a lot of issues.
Oh, now that is another problem.
That's another. We have SANU. Once ASU is done, SANU might decide to pick theirs up as well too.
While trying to break ASU, they created another academic. Right. It's a convoluted problem.
All right. Let's take this comment from Facebook. Dr. Mrs. Umaldi Barra from Oweri says, to neglect the education of our children is not just to look for trouble, but to guarantee trouble. This threat of no work, no pay is unacceptable. Why can't government settle this ASU issue once and for all? Is government no longer a continuum? If they go on strike, our children will suffer because when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Why is government toying with the education and glorious destinies of our children? Let all stakeholders in the education come together and find lasting solution to this challenge. Enough is enough.
I hope they listen.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Olabara from Oweri. Let's quickly touch on another story. This time, let's talk on the Gale of Defection. And it's beginning to raise its head. We have another, governor from Enugu State, Peter Mba, who was defected from the PDP to the APC, following the Delta State governor. And of course, they've declared that, picked President Tinubu and the incumbent governor as their choice for 2027. This is another one joining the APC. What happens to the PDP?
Well, we've been through this. We've been saying this for a very long time that the PDP is in a very bad place. That's the honest truth, and they have themselves to blame.
So they created the problem themselves.
It's a self-inflicted injury. So I don't. They don't have my sympathy. But unfortunately, the sad thing is that we need an opposition party. But even as an opposition party, we all know that. For me, this is my opinion. PDP is practically useless as an opposition party. You understand? So that is the simple truth. In fact, Nigerians are the only opposition we have. In fact, Nigerians on Twitter and Facebook are the only opposition we have. You understand? So as far as the opposition, there used to be an LP, but of course, that one has been decimated. They have stymied themselves. The PDP virus has infected that place. So you don't have an opposition there again. So as a matter of fact, when you remove Nigerian opposition themselves, within the APC, you have APC opposition itself is even more vibrant than the opposition that is supposed, constitutionally empowered opposition parties. So they box themselves into that conundrum and let them stew in their own mess. So they don't have my sympathy. And as far as I'm concerned, it is good riddance. You see, because if you're an opposition party, you should play opposition. It's not the kind of this thing that it's me first and things like Katiku has been playing all over the places. I hope he's happy now. That's another governor moving into APC. So now in ADC, I hear there is another turmoil over there because of his ambition. So you cannot have elephants like that. That finds their way into a China shop and you expect there won't be mess. You understand? Of course, on the one hand, don't forget there is a wicked there too, locking somewhere in the corner. You understand? So look, you see, you can only but laugh at some of this because it's so saddening. You understand? They see a pit. That they are on the precipice, and you have to be very careful. What do? You start wrestling when both of you will fall into the deep gulf, or you fall into the water, or you fall into the ravine. You understand? So that is what PDP has done. So for Peter Mba, I sincerely believe that he's looking towards 2027. Already PDP is factionalized. There is that possibility that he might not even get a ticket. You understand? That is a crisis, and he has a legitimate reason for porting. If they decide to go to court, there is a vision at the national level, so he can plead to that. So for me, that is. And in any case, he has been performing anyway.
Very good governor.
He's a very good governor. So the party is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle.
All right, let's round off with that one. Your closing thoughts, and then.
Well, my heart goes to to the students of the university who are probably shattered by this news of ASU going on strike. I sincerely hope and I sincerely pray and I sincerely plead with federal government to listen to ASU. And also, I will also plead to the academics too that as much as possible we know they are patriotic, but if there is any leeway, if there is any way they can, there is any wiggle room, they should give the federal government. That's just my take this morning.
All right, then. The views expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 of the staff therein, but is expressed by our in-house analyst, Nicholas Uwerunonye. Thank you so much for joining us for today. We'll be back to your ears tomorrow from 8 o'clock to 8:30, God willing, on the headline news analysis. I am Danielle Shitta-Bey.
And I am Adeyemi. Thank you for joining us.